Wait, is this thing on? Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new episode of StarCraft II Strategy. Today we're actually going to discuss a pretty difficult subject because it's gonna be Scarlett Zerg vs Protoss. Now, for anyone who's been following StarCraft II lately, you probably are aware that Scarlett is on an absolute roll. Scarlett has been demolishing like tournaments left and right pretty much, and she's been performing incredibly well. Now, one of the matchups that she plays is obviously Zerg vs Protoss, right? And she's been playing versus pretty much the best players in the world. Players such as MCs, players such as SOS. Now, it is very important to know before we do anything that if you want to copy this and evolve this into your own gameplay, you kind of have to be ridiculously good already because what she does is incredibly high level. So today I'm not gonna really discuss the exact build order as much because I feel, you know, if you're gonna be playing this style already, you should be able to know exactly what you're gonna be doing the first 67-8 minutes into the game anyway. Because those are not really relevant. Scarlett opens up all the time with a hatchery first, or a double hatchery, or a gas before pool, or a pool into a hatchery, or a pool into a hatch. You know, she just opens up in every single possible way that ZVP is possible to be played in, but she does a few funky things in the middle part of the game that we're mostly gonna take a look at. Now, before we jump in the game, let's actually discuss the mindset that Scarlett plays in. So Scarlett is a player that really shines in the later part of the game, where there's like multi-pronged aggression and whatnot. So usually what we see her play is going to be Mutalisk. She's just gonna try and max out on Mutalisk, sometimes with a few Corruptors in there, sometimes with a few Infestors in there, but pretty much the main goal is to try and get as many Mutalisk up as possible. Now the problem with this is that obviously if you actually go for a lair right away, you throw down your Spire and you go for your Mutalisk, you just sort of die to any kind of 2 or 3 base all-in that the Protoss can go for, and it's just not the way to go. So the way that Scarlett has been playing lately is mostly for Ling, Hydra into Mutalisk eventually, and that is one of the things that is incredibly cool. She actually barely ever makes Roaches, she barely ever makes anything but these 3 units, but really, how do you do that? Now let's just take a look at the actual game. We're going to watch a game that she played recently versus a player none other than SOS, who is in absolute incredible Protoss. So yeah, let's jump straight into the game. Okay, so here we are. This is going to be a game that she played recently. As you can see, it is going to be known as SOS versus Scarlett. Now, we're mostly going to watch this game through Scarlett's vision. So let's actually speed up the game a little bit and check out what kind of a build order she's going for. Obviously in the early game she's just gonna make mostly drones, but you know, it's always interesting to see how many drones a player such as Scarlett can really squeeze out. Usually in the early part of the game, that is basically what a Zerg player is going for. Mostly, what we'll see Scarlett do is actually just try and get as many drones up as she possibly can without dying. And usually that's gonna be until like 60 to 80 drones, kind of depends. She went for a hatch, into a pool, into another hatch. So far it's been a pretty greedy opener, a little bit of a safer one, because she did go for a pretty early spawning pool as well. Just to make sure, you know, she can get those early Zerglings out. She's gonna get the double queens out, just the quick double queens, and she already got 1 gas geyser up, just to get the Zergling speed a little bit earlier than you would get it. So this was a 4 minutes and 30 second gas geyser. Now she's gonna get the Zergling speed, just gonna keep on going, and then she's gonna add on more and more units, as well as a quick evolution chamber. Now, so far, it's been pretty standard. She does the 6-minute scouts. She does see, okay, there's gonna be phoenixes out on the map, so what I'm gonna do, well, I'm gonna make a few spore crawlers. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting. Let's actually slow the game down slightly. You can see her going for a lair. Still, she's just making drones. She's actually started the +1 melee attack on the Zerglings as well. But so far, really, it's nothing more but drones and, you know, a little bit of static defense. There we go. As you can see on the production tab, right when she hits max saturation on 3 bases, she actually starts a whole lot of static defense at the 3rd base. Those are 2 spine crawlers and 2 spore crawlers. Because if the Zerg or if the Protoss player is gonna go for any kind of aggression, he's obviously going to do that at this base. Now, right when she hits this max saturation kind of thing, she will actually start making a lot of Zerglings, and the +1 attack will be finishing very soon. Now, this also actually tends to line up with the lair timing. Now, what does she do with the lair? Well, what she does is actually go for a Hydralisk gun right away, and she pretty much does this every single time. Usually, you know, it's very common right now for a Protoss player to go for these kind of Phoenix openers, but she pretty much does it even versus gateway openers, even versus anything else. She just opens up with a lot of Zerglings and then goes for a Hydralisk Den after hitting the max saturation and the lair. There we go. What you're gonna use the units for? Well, first of all, she's obviously going to try and clean up this little bit of aggression that her opponent is throwing onto her. But like I mentioned, she is going to try and hit a Mutalisk timing. So why is she getting all of this? Well, if a Protoss player, let's pause the game a little bit right now, if a Protoss player would go for a bit of aggression, he would usually hit around the 10 to 11 minute mark, okay? The 10 to 11 minute mark is actually, bam, right when this upgrade finishes as well. So he will be able to defend this just with the +1 attack, which just makes the Zerglings a whole lot stronger. Now, other than that, the other option a Protoss player can go for is going to be a third base. Now the standard timing for a third base would be around the 9 to 9.5 minute mark. Scarlett has a Zergling on the third base, has a Zergling on the other potential third base, and she knows, okay, it's not going to be a third base. What can my opponent really do at this point? Well, it's likely gonna be some sort of aggression, or he's just going to, you know, expand very late. So she's getting the Hydralisk Den up just for defensive purposes. She knows there's Phoenixes out. Obviously, the Hydralisk can help versus that, but she's just going to get these Hydras out defensively. She can obviously, if she makes a lot of them, can try and use them offensively, but it's mostly just a step in between Mutalisk and Zerglings. So here we go, she's gonna start a whole bunch of them. Actually going to start the Spire as soon as the Hydralisk Den finishes as well. She is going to do a little bit of aggression right now, see what she can do. You know, obviously +1 attack makes the Zerglings a lot stronger. But here we go, she's going to start the Groove Spines upgrade, and she's going to start a whole lot of Hydras. As you can see, she's not rushing out the 5th and 6th gas guys, it really isn't. Even though she's getting a Spire, even though she's gonna make Mutalisk, she is just trying to make as many Hydras, as many Zerglings as she can right now, while slowly transitioning into the Spire. So here we go, we see a little bit more aggression, obviously the Zerglings once more trying to be aggressive as possible, or as aggressive as possible. As a recap so far, what she's done is a quick 3 hatchery play. She went for 4 gases, and when she got a lair, she got the Hydralisk Den up, and once she hit max saturation, which is actually at that exact same point as well on 3 bases, she decided to make a whole lot of Zerglings and got incredibly aggressive with them. Now eventually, after finishing the Hydralisk Den, she started the Groove Spines upgrade, which is the Hydra range, and she also started a Spire. She's instantly starting the Flyer attacks level +1 as well, before even making any Mutalisk. So even though she planned to go for Mutalisk, she's not rushing them out, and I think that is absolutely crucial to realize. Now, let's check out what she's actually going to be able to do with all these Hydras. She's just trying to put on a little bit of aggression. Now, I think this is the really important part of this game. She's just trying to be as aggressive as possible with Zerglings and with Hydralisk whenever she can, while transitioning into the Mutas. And she actually managed to do quite a little bit of damage. Now, you know, this is obviously just always nice whenever you can get your opponent's Phoenixes, but the real clue so far is don't rush the Mutalisk. There's absolutely no reason. Now at this point though, she's not gonna produce any more Hydralisk for a long ass time. She's just not gonna bother with them. She's just gonna try and throw all the gas that she has into Mutalisk, and then whenever she has minerals available, she's gonna run them into the Zerglings. Now here we go though. She's gonna use the Mutalisk. This is another very cool trick that she does. She's gonna use the Mutalisk right here to go for the natural. Now the natural is obviously going to be, you know, SOS is going to try and defend that with photon cannons, but at this exact same time, she's also going to have the army, you know, the Hydras and the Zerglings. She's going to use the ground army that she has to actually try and pull the Protoss player out of position. So while she's pushing with a few Mutalisk at the natural, keep in mind, these are only a few. Those are not very scary, there's only 7 of them out on the map right now. But while doing so, she actually manages to pull her opponent, you know, pretty much just apart. So, you know, see whatever damage she can get done right now. Once the cannons are done, she's gonna try and fly out of there again, target firing down just to try and pull them out of position. And here we go, the Zerglings running in and getting this around once more, you know, just trying to see what they can do. And this is really the big clue in this strategy. While she is transitioning into this bigger clump of Mutas, she is constantly threatening with the ground army that she has, to just make sure that the Protoss player does not move out right now. That is the scary point right now. If this entire Protoss army, let me actually take a look at it. If this Protoss army would be on the other side of the map, would Scarlett really be able to actually deal with this? I am not completely sure. This is a pretty strong army. The thing is, Scarlett is never planning on actually facing this army head on. What she is going to try and do, let's say SOS moves out right now, she will just counterattack. The Mutas will go into the natural, this army will go into the third, and before SOS can even get on the third base of Scarlett, he would have already lost 2 full bases. And that is really the big timing right now, because she, you know, SOS knows, okay, I can't move out. and that actually allows Scarlett to go for the timing window and make as many Mutalisks as she wants to. So here we go, I'm just gonna speed up the game right now. She's gonna expand all over the map just to spread her opponent thin, just in case of counterattack, but she's just trying to threaten, you know, whenever she's attacking with Mutalisk right here, she's also going to try and engage a little bit with the ground army on the other side, and she's just trying to spread her opponent thin while messing up a Mutalisk ball. So far, you know, a little bit ago we were at 7, right now we're at 18, and she's just slowly building up that ball until it is pretty much unbeatable for a Protoss player. A Protoss player nearly has no units available to really do efficiently with a big mutable. Now, just because this is also a little bit of a cute trick, just because SOS is going to transition into a ton of Phoenixes. Let's actually take a look at how many there are right now. There's 15 of them out right now. She is decided to go for a bunch of Infestors just to try and get that fungal growth off, which obviously allows the Mutalisk to actually get on top of the Phoenixes. So we will be able to see that shortly. But yeah, basically what happened is a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Hydralisks to try and defend early game, as well as threaten counterattacks, while slowly building up the Mutalisk ball and getting the sick upgrades on these Mutalisks that really allow them to perform well. So here we go, I believe this is where she hits a big fungal. Oh, no, not quite yet. Ooh, and there we go. Well, this is basically GG. The army will just be able to get cleaned up right now, and SOS GG's out of the game. So yeah, that is pretty much it as far as Scarlett's ZVP goes. Now keep in mind she obviously does it a little bit different on different maps, and obviously she opens up differently every time, but this is in general the kind of game that she plays every single damn time. I left a couple of useful links right below that like button in the description below, so if you're interested in more, click that and check it out. If you want to see more of me, click the subscribe button that is in the bottom left corner, I believe. It's a red button, click it and you will get a little notification as soon as I upload new videos. Also, if you really enjoyed the video, please share it with your friends. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! And try and beat your opponents and whatnot. So, consider you're watching this video, you've probably got Hearthstone, right? You're probably in the beta, you're trying out a few things, and you've noticed, okay, hunters, they are using a lot of beasts. Now, this is also where this build actually specializes in. We're going to cover